What's up, everyone? It's the Autistic Scyther here, and this is part 2 of Top 10 Favorite Songs. For those that are wondering where part 1 is up on my channel now. So if you want to see numbers 10 through 6 of my favorite songs that I enjoy, I suggest you see that video first, then come back for this video. Because, again, it's really going to say a lot. Again, as I've pointed out, you may not like if you don't like any of these songs I like, that's fine. Just put your favorite songs in the comments below this video or the previous video on my channel. So with that out of the way, let's get back into it. Moving on next, at number 5, we have yet another tie. This time between Love Sensation from 911 and Restart by Sam Smith. Alright, surprisingly enough, there's only 2 ties here, but kind of makes sense since I kind of like them both equally, and it's hard to choose my favorites. But surprisingly enough, naturally this one's kind of interesting, and I'm not sure if anyone has ever noticed, but have you ever noticed that you've heard a certain song and you can't quite put your finger on where you heard it from? Well, that's kind of a similar thing for me, as basically, I never thought I'd like the song Love Sensation by 911 as much as I do. But in this case, that's actually because of one specific movie I used to watch a lot as a kid. And that was, surprisingly enough, Casper: A Spirited Beginning. Yeah. Basically, I actually have the 3 live-action Casper movies, and I used to watch at least 2 out of those 3 a lot, Casper and Wendy being the 3rd one that I didn't watch all that much. But in fairness, when I saw Casper: A Spirited Beginning, and I heard that song played at the end of that movie, I was like, as soon as I heard those strains of "Don't go changing, rearranging, hold on to a love sensation," I was like, okay, this is a solid song. And but I've always rewound the videotape as soon as that first part happened. That being said, in this case, Casper: A Spirited Beginning, when I eventually discovered this song again, all the memories of watching that watching that movie came flooding back, and I actually remembered it. Granted, I actually like the song from its sort of 90s style flair, kind of fitting since I was born in 1991, but even with that, it's kind of fun to say the least. And even further, surprisingly enough, it's kind of transferred because I basically heard this song alongside watching Chugga Conroy's Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Let's Play. And naturally, at the end of the main story, I basically played it, and it kind of synced up well with it, which is amazing to say the least. As for Restart by Sam Smith, granted, this is really saying a lot considering how his first album, In the Midnight Hour, had some really solid songs like Stay With Me and Lay Me Down. But naturally, Restart I heard a lot. If you remember from when I mentioned that certain songs from certain artists I would basically hear are kind of those that most people wouldn't even think of. Surprisingly enough, Restart was that song when it came to Sam Smith. And naturally, almost every time when I got a chance to hear it, I would find myself dancing to it. Granted, I haven't heard it all that much, but yeah, it's kind of one of those songs that when I do hear it, I will find myself dancing to it. Really does say a lot. Moving on next at number 4, we have Last Surprise by Lynn. Yep, surprisingly enough, you knew video game songs would kind of sneak into my favorites. And naturally, surprisingly enough, the Persona franchise has had some amazing songs. Which is saying a lot since my first exposure to the Persona franchise was through Persona 4 the animation. So, naturally, I knew I would essentially enjoy anything involving Persona. And while recently it might have changed up to, like, songs like Life Will Change from Persona 5, or even Reach Out to the Truth from Persona 4 Dancing All Night, honestly, I can't help but realize Last Support still hits as hard as when I first heard it. And also, yeah, it's because of memes. I mean, more often than not, if I remember any song that I've heard from a meme, it's honestly gonna stay with me. And naturally, that's Last Surprise, as I heard a lot of memes before just hearing the song outright. And more often than not, whenever I enjoy, and I'm currently watching a Let's Play Persona 5 from another YouTuber named Shirako. And naturally, I've always found myself enjoying the fact that the battle theme is Last Surprise, to the point I've always felt myself wanting to dance along to the battle theme, which really says a lot. All I gotta say is, looking cool, Joker! Moving on next at number 3, we have Dynamite from BTS. Yeah, when it comes down to it, a lot of things I got into or got exposed to during the pandemic, which really does say a lot, since a lot of them were just in the efforts of trying to keep myself from going full-on stir-crazy and not ruined by isolation. And naturally, it really does say a lot. It goes even further once you realize that my family ended up getting our Wi-Fi connection around this time. So I was easily able to get into specific things at this point, like the anime Fairy Tail and Gurren Lagann, to YouTubers like Babish's Culinary Universe, or heck, YouTubers I've heard of like Tom Fox or Antler Boy Live. And naturally, when it comes down to it, this is the same case with music. And honestly, when it comes down to it, BTS's songs were kind of interesting, to say the least. And keep in mind, prior to the entire events of 2020, I ended up getting into most of BTS's songs with DNA. With songs like, DNA and Idol. So, yeah, I never thought that BTS would be kind of what helped me just stay kind of mentally healthy during a time when and we were all meant to isolate ourselves in our home. But even with that, Dynamite still kept me. Dynamite was still one of those songs that I imagine myself, that I enjoy. And keep in mind, I still have imaginary friends. Yes, I'm 34 and I have imaginary friends. But honestly, during this, me and all my male imaginary friends would imagine us, it would basically, I'd put on this song and me and most of my male imaginary friends would end up singing the song, so kind of makes sense. And in fairness, it's still one of the most fun songs I've ever heard. I mean, even though I've heard their new songs like Butter or Permission to Dance. And I'm not sure what's going on, but Dynamite's still sticking around. Yeah. Moving on next at number 2, we have Eye to Eye by Tevin Campbell. Alright, speaking of songs I remember from when I was a kid, honestly, it's this song. First off, I'm not as big of a Disney fan as most people. I mean, I have a few Disney movies I enjoy, but even with that, I'm not all into Disney more than like video games or Pokemon or anime or Fire Emblem. But even with that, one of the few movies I remember seeing a lot as a kid was a Goofy movie. And granted, this is one of the most funniest movies I've ever seen, to the point that I watched it constantly as a kid. Granted, I never wore it out as much as most of my CDs, but in fairness, I found myself always enjoying this movie and the songs within it. And you'd think that songs like After Today, Stand Out, and On the Open Road would be ones I enjoy, which they are. But when Eye to Eye shows up, I always have to find myself dancing to this song because it's so iconic. And more often than not, even with this, I'm willing to remember it more often than not. Plus, the fact Tevin Campbell actually voices Powerline really does say a lot. And basically kind of makes it seem like it's thanks to his role as Powerline and the song Eye to Eye that got me into hearing some of his other songs. The only song I've heard was the song Can We Talk, which isn't that much, but hey, baby steps. Finally, at number 1, we have Break Free, Lead the Way from Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah, honestly, most people may be surprised and are thinking, wait, you don't like Jump Up Superstar? And here's the thing, don't get me wrong, I like Jump Up Superstar. I mean, it's one of the few games that made me not only want to get a Nintendo Switch, but also made me want to get Super Mario Odyssey as a whole. However, as much as Jump Up Superstar is a solid song, honestly, it's when I played through the entire game and got to the end where Mario ended up capturing Bowser, that the real song that I enjoyed ends up happening. And as soon as those strains of Break Free, Lead the Way ended up happening, it just energized me so much that it felt like there was that certain push to send me rocketing towards the end. And honestly, I think when it comes down to it, every time I play this song, I find myself always wanting to dance to it, and it gives me that bit of energy to push through while dancing. And honestly, I gotta say, if it was one of my favorite Mario songs, it's on this list. Which might. You'll soon see. Those are my top 10 favorite songs. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.